You're listening to Flush Your Fat for Good with Jackie and Dr. Vicky, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're Flush Your Fat for Good. My name is Jackie Paget Baird.
And I'm Dr. Vicky Arcady.
And we have a lifestyle for a lifetime. And that's what we do every week, to share with you what we have so that you never have to yo-yo again, so that you don't struggle with your weight ever again, so that you're not wondering if you have an event coming up that you're not going to be able to fit into the desired outfit that you want, or if it's constantly putting you in a state of mind that you have no hope. In other words, there's many people that after a while they've tried so many programs to lose weight that they just decide to buy a moo-moo and call it a day, right?
Yes.
And that's not okay.
And hopeless.
It's not okay with us, because it doesn't matter what your age is. We have 12-year-olds with 41-inch waists we've been working with, and now this little boy's life is completely changed. And we have 87-year-olds in walkers losing up to 75 pounds. Yes. Because it's how you feed yourself according to your body, the way it was made. And this is all based on biochemistry and physiology. It is health by design, not by default. And that means how God made your body is what we're teaching you how to feed yourself properly. And with doing that, you have optimal digestion, absorption, and elimination. That's Raphael joined us last week, and he was saying, I kept hearing this thing, digestion, absorption, and elimination. And I couldn't figure out why my belly was always big. And then once he started Flush Your Fat for Good, because of the digestion, absorption, and elimination at optimal level, that belly went down and he could see his abs. So this is an amazing lifestyle, but it's a commitment. It is something to, you walk over that Flush Your Fat for Good, we call it the FYF for Good bridge, and you make a commitment. You know, discipline is giving yourself a command and following it. Well, when you are sick and tired of really always worried about how you look, your weight, how you feel in your clothes, this is a lifestyle that you don't have that struggle anymore. No. You don't crave, you're never constantly starving, you sleep better, you think better, your moods are great, your digestion is optimal, and most of all, you lose safe and rapid fat loss.
That's the best part.
Yeah, and that's basically why I designed this for myself. It was through divine intervention that I received this lifestyle plan, and when I was praying for something right away to take off a good 40 to 50 pounds that I had accumulated from stress because of a family tragedy. I was like, Lord, I want this off like yesterday. And all of a sudden this lifestyle came to me, and I started applying it. And by applying it, it was shocking everybody that it was so quick and so the fat was just melting off, and I was sleeping better, first time in a long time. And everything started changing, and people begged me to put it down on paper. One of them, Kathy Costalazzo, God bless her, she forced me to do it, and then put it on a website. So the name of our lifestyle is Flush Your Fat for Good. The name of our book is Flush Your Fat for Good, Be Lean and Healthy for Life. This is not just a fat loss program. No. This is to be lean and healthy, okay? Because if you're 20 pounds overweight, that means you're linked to about 23 health conditions.
If you don't have your health, the world stops turning.
Yeah,
so
you don't have anything.
You have nothing. I mean, everything goes out the window if you don't have your health. So that's what we want to try.
And today what we want to do is we have our lifestyle is in a workbook on our website. You can go to the storefront and check that out. And it's a decent price, let me tell you, because this This is blood, sweat, and tears here for $15.95,
That's right.
I think it is.
60 plus combined years.
Yeah, but today we're going to go into Dr. Vicky's segment right now of Did You Know That? And then we're going to go into what we recommend for supplementation for this lifestyle. So take it away, Dr. Vicky.
Okay. Well, well, I think I'm sure some of you know I am a doctor, but I am a chiropractor. I don't know if any of you know how many of you know that, but I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and I've been in practice more than 30 years. I'm not in clinical practice now, but I'm still an active doctor with an active license, and I see patients from time to time. So what I'm saying is I'm licensed. But in my practice, I had to get the body to work better, and part of the way that you have to get the body to work better is to analyze what health is. And if you don't have drugs and you don't have surgery and you don't have intervention and you're depending on the body, you have to, utilize what in chiropractic, which we utilize what is called the triangle of health. The triangle, three sides, of course, as a triangle to give you health, and one of the sides is nutritional or chemical. The second side is mental or emotional, and the other side is structural.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your structure, like your body parts, and you have the nutrition and chemicals that you take in to the body, because the first thing a baby does when it is born is crawl to the breast, because food is for survival. We have to have food. That's the first thing instinctively a baby does, is go for the food. And then your mental. And I always had my patients in those days, but now in your cell phone, or be in your cell phone, a name of somebody, a counselor, a priest, a pastor, a rabbi, a therapist, someone that can help you with your emotional. If you go into severe emotional stress, or not stress, but your emotional mental health is not where it should be, and you can't get out of that, you have to find a way to seek a way to make yourself healthier and change that. That's very important. If you don't do that, you're not going to have full-on health.
No, because it's negative vibrations. It actually pulls you down.
Yes.
It slows down your metabolism.
And you get what you think about too. So,
right.
if you're depressed, which many people that are overweight that's the number one emotion we hear from them, is they're very depressed. And that's because of hormonal issues that develop because of your insulin resistance. We went over that a few weeks ago. Insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia, and the inability to control gaining the weight, even if you don't eat. And the problem with sleeping that you have contributes to that emotional and mental health, and all parts of the triangle, really. And, the depression, it can be so bad that you can't get yourself out of it. So
it's horrible.
Yeah, so one of the ways you can get out of that depression is to, seek what I said a minute ago, but also with Flush Your Fat for Good, we took this into consideration as one of the big problems. And in our pillars, our fourth pillar is nutrifying. And that is a word in the dictionary.
Yes, it is.
And that is where you follow the pillars of our eating, how to eat, get the rapid fat loss with nutritional ketosis going, you food combine, and you eat low glycemic, and then you have to nutrify yourself. You have to take in the nutrients. And in every weight loss, not every, but most of the weight loss studies and companies that you look at, you will see that they recommend something, supplementation.
They have
some
to
kind.
because they're limited.
Yeah, you're changing your diet, you're limiting your diet, you're excluding certain things in your diet. Not that it's unhealthy, but you have to be able to support your body. And we have found over the last 4 years that those people who don't supplement properly as we advise, they don't feel as good. They don't have as great results of overall health, like the triangle. Because see, once we get you going with the first few pillars, you're going to start feeling better very shortly. You're going to stop eating all those foods that will contribute to the weight gain, and now you're going to start losing and burning fat. And when you burn the fat, you're going to have more energy. When you have more energy, you're going to feel
happier. Yeah, you're going to have a better mood.
And your insulin is going to get more on a regulated, efficient level. You're not going to see that hyperinsulinemia and the insulin resistance. So what happens is, over time, as you continue, you're going to have the depression start to lift. You will, some people, it sticks with them for a long time because it didn't get there overnight. And if you're large and you have a lot to lose, you have to just trust me. You have to just stick through it and follow the pillars to a T. We say follow to a T in our lifestyle, and you will see things happen. But with our recommendations for nutrifying and supplementing, it's really, really going to benefit you so much. I mean, it's just, you just won't believe the changes in you. I mean, everyone around you will be telling you, and it just accelerates the healthy curve. And
well, the one thing that I want to bring up is a lot of people do not understand the difference between synthetic and whole food or real food, number one. Number two, it's just recent that people were beginning to realize that you have to supplement, only because many doctors now are recommending it. They don't know much about it, but they do know because of JAMA, right? Didn't JAMA say that now?
1949, I believe.
Okay, that's not recent, but in 1949...
that you must supplement.
Right, because the soils are deficient.
Yes.
The foods are limited. When was the last time you went out and had a big bowl of bladderwrack or wisteria? Put a little
all the time.
Yeah, put butter on it.
Daily.
But there's foods,
those are real foods that we used to eat.
Yes.
On a regular basis.
The certain roots and certain foods and meats, some people just have very, very limited diets, and unfortunately they've gone into fast foods and simple foods and foods of just white bread and white flour and potatoes and things like this, that they're very limited. You'll see a very heavy child eating constantly corn chips or potato chips. His body is craving amino acids, thinking it's going to get it out of the potato chip.
Right.
And this child is just going to get heavier and heavier, and he's malnourished, no different than the Ethiopian child that is malnourished in the third world nations.
Right. And I always say that our Power 100 heroes, when they start this, or any of you out there who are extremely heavy, you're malnourished.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. You are malnourished and you are sick. You're sick.
It's not a fraud. There's a lot of companies out there that do not, because of the regulations. Now it's getting tighter and tighter. But when you find companies that are dealing with whole food supplementation, companies that have been involved with, glycobiology and real food technologies, when you find companies out there that are very, very proud of their supplements, and they're not afraid to tell you how they are developed and made and manufactured, you got to do your homework.
And I can tell you from clinical practice over the decades, as I learned more and more, I always used, I used some synthetics. This was back in the 80s. That was the first generation, all synthetic, made in a lab, chemicals, rocks, coal tar, petroleum. These were the original supplements because it makes sense. You know, the pharmaceutical company says, hey, if you're deficient and you're vitamin deficient, let's synthesize a vitamin for you so that we can supplement it. I mean, it makes total sense.
And it was cheaper.
And it was extremely cheap. And they saw that initially there were results with that. And then there was the second generation where they used the synthetics combined with food. So a lot of the labels, which I was just explaining to one of our buddies earlier today, you will see a label that says whole food vitamin and mineral, but when you look at the label, you'll see the synthetics because you see words that you can hardly pronounce. You'll see vitamin A, and then you'll see like, palmate, 8, an ein,
I'd in 8.
And
those are the ending of
you'll
the word.
see it in parentheses. That tells you that those are synthesized. And then on the right margin of the label, they'll list them there, all the vitamins, and then on the right margin they'll have, like all these greens and all these vegetables and fruits and listed one after the other in like a paragraph on the label. But that's food sourced supplementation. That is not whole food supplementation. There's a difference. They combine the synthetic with the food. And that was the second generation supplementation. Then there was the third generation, which was whole food supplementation, which comes from all food. And these are readily available now. You can find them pretty much, anywhere. They're surfacing one after the other in recent weeks. I've noticed there's been a lot of them. And what I found in my practice is when you take in a synthetic supplement, it'll work initially. You'll take it for a symptom. It's like a drug. You take it and almost immediately it starts to feel better. And then over time you're continuing taking that synthetic supplement, and what happens is the body doesn't recognize it. So the body has to rob from some other source in your body, somewhere else. It has to rob, what we say, from Peter to pay Paul. So it pulls from other vitamins and minerals or proteins or aminos or saccharides in the body, and it will pull from there to help the body recognize those synthetics. And what happens over time is with me, my patients would come in, and after an amount of time I'd say, so now that is better, but now this is happening. So I would give them another supplement. And then they would be on that for a while, and then they'd come back and say, now I have a cramp I keep getting these cramps in my legs. Okay, well, now you need something else because, we gave you the iron, and now something else is going on. Okay, so then until finally when I was able to strictly use whole food supplementation, all that went away. They were fine on just the whole food supplementation because you're supplementing with what's missing.
Right.
That's all you want to do, and the body recognizes it.
Yeah, and it's like a whole puzzle. So if you're just taking part of the puzzle, your body's going to look all over the rest of the body and leach it from your bones, your organs, your muscles, or whatever is needed to leach it, to put it with that one puzzle that's missing these parts, to see the whole puzzle, recognize it, and utilize it. But in the long run, we were seeing patients that became, with the synthetic vitamins.
She ran the front.
Yeah, and I would always see like another one, and we would.
She was the boss
with a whip. But the interesting thing about it was if you gave them a certain supplement that was synthetic and it was missing one of the pieces of the puzzle, which was the nucleus, such as maybe the vitamin A, the next thing we found out is that their eyesight was going down. Or like Dr. Vicki just said, now that she has leg cramps. Now we're like chasing it around.
We're chasing it, and pretty soon they come in with a bag full of supplements, and I'm like, oh my God, there's something wrong with this picture. And then we learned about the whole food supplementation.
And that made a huge difference.
That made all the difference in the world. And we ourselves have been on that, and we haven't had to really target at all with any other supplementation.
No.
We're on what we're going to tell you about tonight. That's what we're on, and we've been on that and been doing this for more than 20 years.
And one of the most important things is to understand that when I put all these supplements together for this lifestyle for me to lose my fat, it was a situation where I knew that I needed to supplement with vitamins and minerals, because you can do without a lot of supplements, but you can't live without vitamins and minerals.
They are needed for cofactors in the body. For almost every function in the body depends on the cofactors from vitamins and minerals.
Right.
You cannot live without them.
And foods are lacking in them. So you
supply with what's missing.
Right. And when you're losing fat, you want to make sure you've got all your bases covered. You want all of your systems, your defense, your immune, your hormonal system, your digestive system, your autonomic nervous system. You want all your systems supported, because while your body is going through a whole lot of changes, especially with Flush Your Fat for Good, you're going to go through many changes because it works so quickly. That I knew that the first thing we had to do was have a whole food vitamin and mineral.
Yep. So everybody should be on a whole food vitamin and mineral. You should be on that regardless of whether you're on Flush Your Fat for Good or not, because of the the JAMA study in 1949. I mean, you should. Our foods are depleted. The soils are depleted. They don't rotate them.
And when you see on the back of the label, you're not going to see vitamin A, and then it's going to be a synthesized, it'll
retinol palmate or whatever it is.
Even if you have beta carotene,
yes,
that's just one part of the carotenoids. That's not the whole carotenoids. So like vitamin E, you don't want, there's a whole bunch of parts of the vitamin E, the tocopherols. You want them all. So really what you want to find out is the food sources when you look on the back of the label.
Yes.
You do not want the synthetics, because in about 4 months, which is the life of a red blood cell, you're going to find that they're not working well for you. You know how people, they change their shampoos all the time? Oh, the shampoo's not working for me. I got to go get another shampoo. That's what you're going to say. God, these work for me. They felt good, but not now. And
okay.
Anyway.
So we're going to go through this whole list.
Right.
And we have a time restraint here.
Okay.
So.
I
but
know
I just wanted to say, we'll go on to the next one, but that is our whole concentration with Nutrifying, is to have whole food supplementation. Foods that come, that will help your body and that are missing to give you the nutrients that you need.
So number one is the whole food supplementation of vitamins and minerals. Number two is glyconutrients. Now, these are plant molecules. They're known as sugars, saccharides, or carbohydrates. These are missing from the diet. Many people say we're supposed to have 8 essential saccharides, but we only get 2 in our diet. God kind of gave us a mechanism in our body to be able to take the 2 that we get from our diet to convert to the other 6, but it's not foolproof. It wasn't meant to be conversion 24/7. It's very exhausting on the body. For one saccharide to convert to another could be 44 steps of enzymatic conversion, which is exhausting on the body. And many people find themselves breaking down a lot sooner than they should, like in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s, because their diet is so lacking of glyconutrients. And these are mono and polysaccharides. There's a whole revolution that showed up in the late 90s.
Yes.
And
it's a new science, and these nutrients are, like she said, from plant molecules, most of them, and they provide cell-cell communication between cells. So it's to be without them, which most of us are, by the way, and I believe that most of us are overly fatigued and tired because our bodies are so busy trying to manifest them and make them, and produce them from what our bodies have.
Right.
That they're missing in the diet, so we have to supplement. And
it gives you the cell to cell will recognize the nutrients and pull it in. And the reason why I wanted that was because it's going to give energy to the cell to speed up the mitochondria to burn the fat. The bottom line is this is to help you be lean and healthy and feel strong. But for cell-to-cell communication, you want your cells to recognize nutrition, bring it in. You want your cells to recognize a virus and not allow it. You want your cells to recognize regulating hormones.
Vitamins, everything. Virtually every cell in the body depends on these nutrients. So
even the sperm can't find the egg without the essential saccharides. So end of story. The next thing that we decided to have everybody take is antioxidants. One of the most important things why I wanted the antioxidants is because when you're losing rapid, safe fat loss, your toxins are harbored in the fat cells. And when they open up, and when you're breaking them up and you're losing them, and they open up like an onion, then the toxins are coming out. Right?
They're crazy.
So then the toxins have to filter somewhere, and the toxins are going to filter through the liver, but also they're going to affect other good cells. So you need antioxidants to not only assist in protecting the bumper pool around the cells from being attacked by free radicals and toxins.
And oxidation means resting too. You want but many of the weight loss programs out there recommend antioxidants because it helps you to prevent plateauing as well.
Exactly.
So that antioxidants are extremely important. And we live in a toxic environment. We live on a toxic planet. We have pesticides. We have the water contaminated. Our air. If you live in LA, you know what I mean. You can see the air. So
and it helps to facilitate function and regeneration of all the cells, and especially when you're losing fat. All of these supplements we're talking about is not only for optimal health, but also is to assist you when you're losing fat.
Yes, and you want to have a mean running Ferrari for a machine.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you don't want to put 87 octane in your Ferrari, right? You want to put the top of the line.
Yes.
The next thing that's extremely important, especially for our severe obese,
and not so obese.
Not so obese, right?
Most people are having problems with hormones.
Right.
So we want you to take a supplement that will help you with your hormones, especially in many people will have a better mood and they'll sleep better and everything gets better. Your insulin is a hormone, so if your insulin is off, everything's going to be off. You're an enclosed system, and what we use for hormonal support are called phytosterols. These are plant hormones, plant sterols. They're not
steroids.
They're not steroids. They're from plants, and we're supposed to be getting about 300 to 1,000 milligrams of these foods in our diet, and most of us barely get 1 to 3 milligrams.
But it helps to regulate the blood sugar. So when you're, especially with Flush Your Fat for Good, you are eating all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But with people that don't have their hormones regulated, they'll go tired, or their blood sugar is going to drop. They're going to want a cracker. They're going to want some sweets. And the thing is, from your pineal gland down to the ovaries or the prostate, you have your adrenals, your pancreas, your thyroid. Everything needs to be supported, especially when you're on a fat loss program, because it gives you the strength and the stamina to continue.
I can't decide which. I can't live without my phytosterols.
No, I can't either.
And they're so beneficial to you. I mean, you can tell that when I first took them 20 years ago, I could feel it happening the minute I took them. And they're food, and your body recognizes them.
Right. It comes from a bitter potato, phytosterols.
Mexican wild yam.
Mexican wild yam, otherwise known as Dioscorea
villosa.
Villosa.
And there's other kinds of species too. There's 700 species.
But do your homework, because the one you want is to be very, very ethical and strong and effective from a good quality company. Now, after about through your 20s, actually, and after that, every 10 years you lose about 15% of your digestive enzymes, and most people are not digesting, especially...
Where'd they go?
They're just not around. No, you don't put it out
it's
anymore.
It's called aging.
Yeah, not me. But stress is an issue. Growing old is not for sissies. And the thing is, when you have digestion issues, that's when you get bloated, you get fat, you get toxic. The whole problem is that you're not digesting well, especially if you're not food combining. But when you are eating, especially on Flush Your Fat for Good, we recommend a digestive enzyme before you eat any of your protein meals.
Or if your enzyme says take it after, you take it after. Whatever, follow the directions on yours,
but it's important to take a digestive enzyme.
Yes.
And you want something of high quality that's going to assist you in helping your body to digest, because the output of your enzymes are low, especially after the age of 20. When you go into your 30s and you're in the fast food lane, you're in the fast lane period, just trying to, work and handle kids or whatever you're doing, you're not going to digest well. And when that happens, you don't have digestion, absorption, and elimination.
And that chemical nutritional side of the triangle, that's not going to get supported if you don't have the enzymes to break up the food and digest it properly.
So the next thing that we recommend is probiotics. And we want you to take the pillow, because we want the probiotics, which are the good bacteria. You guys have heard of antibiotics. Well, these are and these are the good bacteroides in your colon, your gut, that is going to, once your food is digested, then it goes into the smaller intestine, in which these probiotics are just waiting there to suck the good nutrition out of your foods that just showed up, and it sends them through the walls of the lining where you have villi hairs and mucosal cells, and that's how it's taken all over your body to build, repair, and maintain the integrity of your bone, blood, tissue, hormones, and organs.
Yeah, and if you take medication especially, or you have taken in some bad foods over time, that population, that colony of that healthy bacteria is down in number. And you have to get that, and especially if you're on medication, that could kill off the bacteria. Or you had rounds of antibiotics. It can take up to 6 months to get that back.
Now, the antibiotics especially, it takes 6 months also
At
to
least.
get the probiotics.
That's
the
what
good
I mean.
Bacteria
the good bacteria back in.
Digest proteins as well.
Yeah.
So, that's very
Don't
important.
We sound serious?
Well, I'm into it. So
look at, we've been doing this for a long time.
But this is like, driving a stick shift. You have to you can't go into fourth gear before you go into first, second, and third. And it's really managing your car so that it lasts long. And that's what we're trying to tell you.
We're excited to share this with you because it really will help you so much, you just have no idea.
Right. The next thing that we want you to be taking is branched-chain amino acids. Mm-hmm. These are peptides.
Yes.
Find a really, really good company with an exclusive peptide technology that is isoleucine, leucine, and valine.
Correct.
And these build lean muscle mass. And what happens is when it hits if you take it on an empty stomach, like we promote it to go into what we call a FYF for Good latte, Flush Your Fat for Good latte, which is organic coffee and either soy, goat, hemp, or flaxseed milk. And you put these peptides in your latte, and it's best on an empty stomach.
We call them muscle building, fat burning.
Muscle burning.
Powder.
Yeah.
And you can get them from different sources. I wouldn't recommend the duck feathers. They actually have them sourced from duck feathers.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't use those. But they have them from legumes, which you can use on phase 2. And then they have the other kind. You have to look for the other ones from protein sources.
But they're amino acids. They're peptides.
They're amino
but
acids.
they're extremely important because they build your lean muscle
groups
mass.
of amino acids.
And while you do this twice a day with your branched chain amino acids and these protein aminos, then what happens is it builds your lean muscle mass. And with every twitch of your muscles, you're burning fat. And it actually helps you, once it hits your duodenum, it releases what's called cholecystokinin, CCK. And that really tells your satiety center in your brain that you're not hungry. So it becomes an appetite suppressant, which is great for a short period of time. And then what happens is it will go straight to your muscles and to building muscle mass, which gives you the strength. And with, like I said, when you twitch your muscles, typing, driving, cleaning, you're burning fat.
And they really help you to feel stronger, especially if you're if you've never exercised, or you sit for your job all the time, or you have a lot to lose. They're so beneficial to help you get the strength back and build the muscle, and the muscle burns fat, so you want to do that.
So now the next thing, we have taken it upon ourselves to create GLA, black currant seed oil, supplementation, and CLA, conjugated linoleic acid.
Yes.
And I'm going to go through a couple of things here that I was very impressed.
These are spectacular supplements.
You know, these are essential fatty acids. Yes. And the thing about this is when you're supplementing with all of these supplements, because these are missing, no matter if you're trying to eat good or not. You can get organic all you want, but most of your fruits and vegetables are picked green. And at the point of vine ripening is when the phytochemicals come up. And those are for all different kinds of things, especially cancer protection, prevention, and things like this. So all of, whether you're dieting or not, so to speak, you should be supplementing, but the ones that we mentioned are really because you're doing a fat loss program, and you really need to support your body on all the systems. But adding your essential fatty acids is like the tools to help you burn the fat better. And I'm just gonna, I printed off something here that I thought was very cool. And this was gamma-linoleic acid is a special type of fat in the omega-6 family. Some people think the 6s are wrong, but this is not. We need a proper balance of essential fatty acids from omega-6 in our body to thrive. So if you think of GLA as an activated form of omega-6 that nourishes your cells and decreases inflammation, and without it, things don't work properly.
Inflammation.
Oh, man. All diseases start with inflammation.
That is the beginning of your health going down.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so what does this mean? Well,
what does it mean,
What
Jackie?
does it mean? It means getting the right amount of GLA can maintain youthful skin, working hormones, and efficient metabolism. You have to cover everything. Even breast milk is full of essential fatty acids, such as GLA. However, when we get older, we are not on breast milk.
No.
So this is why we get to supplement with gamma-linoleic acid. Now, the thing that gamma-linoleic GLA, let's just say.
Yeah, just say GLA.
Okay, say that 3 times. Gamma-linoleic acid. Gamma-linoleic acid. It really supports and promotes healthy skin, the reduction of weight, which we call fat because weight is bone and muscle, and also assists in helping with PMS and menopause. And it
helps the men too, and menopause.
Right, menopause. But with GLA, potentiates fat loss and increased energy. And as you can see, we're really energetic.
We have no energy.
PMS and menopause. GLA supports hormones.
I have her tied down to the table over here.
The hormones and reduces inflammation. And with the skin, it promotes hydration and elasticity.
It really
inside.
Does do.
And people are saying that all the time.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing when you live in warmer climates.
Now, there's some other things that GLA does that's pretty cool. The benefits just don't stop there. The thing is, it might surprise you, but it relieves incontinence or asthma. And in both cases...
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Incontinence and asthma.
GLA supports the lining of the bladder and lungs to work better and stay flexible. GLA is amazing.
There must be, it's got a, probably like a... It's anti-inflammatory. Is what it is, probably.
But also, GLA stimulates the brown fat to burn the white fat. And this,
We like that.
a lot of people, especially in the obesity studies, are looking at GLA
Yes.
because of what it's doing with brown fat. Oddly enough, the severe obese, even if you're 100 pounds over, maybe even 80 over, you have very little brown fat. And yet the brown fat is extremely important to stimulate, to burn that white fat. It's what makes you shiver in the
Exactly.
cold.
I was going to say.
Right?
Yeah.
So often we
Who
find,
knew?
well, and we find the lack of fatty acids, such as GLA, is missing. It's a missing component to activating fat burning for weight loss, which we call fat loss.
I take mine every day and keep it
Yeah.
coming.
Another thing I wanted to share with everybody, well, we've already talked about this. We recommend black currant seed oil. There's Barrage and there's Evening Primrose.
Yes.
But some of those can, you can't take them for long
Barrage
periods of
is
time.
not, yeah, Barrage is kind of shaky because you don't know the quality and it can be toxic. And Evening Primrose is good too, but it doesn't have, it's more for other concerns rather than the fat loss.
Right. And so for PMS and menopause, it could be from hormonal imbalance and excess inflammation problems, and that's why GLA is so beneficial. Now with a CLA, and we take these two and we've designed them so that you can get a significant amount of healthy weight, taking them regularly, twice a day. CLA is a naturally occurring fatty acid found in meat and dairy products. It is also a popular
Grass-fed.
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 Right.
You need to put that in there.
That's right.
because most of us don't get
No,
CLA.
80% of the country now, or parts of the world,
Yes.
eat beef that has been grain-fed.
Grain-fed, and even the some of the grass-fed are partially grain-fed too.
Right,
You have to have.
right. You
Yeah.
got to be picky.
Oh man, we have to be so careful.
So it's also a popular dietary supplement that is sold with claims of helping people to lose fat, lose the weight, retain lean muscle mass, and control type 2 diabetes, which is usually from diabetes that are associated with obesity. But some weight loss study that took place was they did 180 overweight men and women, and these people had 25 to 30 BMI, which is body mass index, and that's an indicator of their body fat. And they were over 25, and that's been linked to increased heart disease, risk of heart disease, and other medical problems such as diabetes. And the volunteers were mostly female, 149 women, and 31 men. I don't know why that was.
How many?
149 women and 31 men.
Well, 'cause-
apparently the women care more.
Well, the women have more fat.
That's true.
The men have
Yeah.
testosterone.
So I found this to be interesting. They were randomly assigned to 3 groups, and the 2 groups taking CLA got either the typical off-the-shelf pill daily, or there is a syrup of CLA they were using. And the 3rd group took a placebo, which was just a pill of olive oil daily. And the volunteers were not required to change their diet or exercise, which I found interesting, because that way they wanted to really test this strongly suggested that they observed the effects of
They
just
didn't want
CLA.
that to be a factor.
Right,
Yes.
on the body composition.
Of fat burning.
So we're independent of the diet. So the decreased calorie intake, they said that they saw decreased calorie intake mainly because they felt that CLA is somewhat of a appetite suppressant, which I've noticed.
Yes.
But this was several times during a 12-month study period. Now, 12 months is a year. And with Flush Your Fat for Good, we've had our Power 100 heroes lose up to 100 pounds within the year. But they were just testing the CLA at this time, not a
Yes.
different, lifestyle, eating and exercise. So those groups that were on the CLA, they lost between 7 and 9% of their body fat.
Wow. Wow.
just taking the CLA.
And how long?
In a 12-month period.
Wow.
And the
Just
ones
by
that
the-
were on the placebo, they lost no body fat. So they were testing the CLA.
That was a legitimate study.
Yeah.
That
So as
isolated-
for weight loss, any weight loss is better than no weight loss, okay? And at least they didn't gain weight. But
It makes you leaner. CLA makes you leaner.
Right.
And that's why it helps you with your belly fat.
so I just wanted to share that because you can go to fleshyourfatforgood.com and go to the storefront. Get the workbook so it teaches you and helps you to do your homework.
Join us.
To find a good...
$15.95.
You are so good with that.
And I'm telling you, it's worth it. Just get through it and look at it and look at our website. I mean, if you want to look at all that we have a VIP access for $19. You can do that for 1 month if you wanted. Go through all the videos, get going on this, and just do this for 1 or 2 months. And ask to join the room. Be a member in our room, buddy in our room. Flush Your Fat for Good Buddies Facebook room, and you'll have 100 coaches around the world in there most of the time. You'll have more than 2,000 buddies in there, always ready to answer questions and support you.
Yeah, but you'll be amazed if you even just do this for 2 months.
We want you to join us.
But you're not going to want to quit because it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
This is so you don't go yo-yo. You want to...
Don't yo-yo.
No. You want to cross that FYF for Good bridge and never look back. Because why should you have 3 different sizes of clothes in your closet, mostly in the color gray and black?
Right.
Which somebody said one day, I said that, and we were all wearing gray and black.
Yeah.
But I
I'm
like
wearing
gray.
gray
What
and
can
black.
I say?
I love gray and black. What's wrong with gray? Is one of my favorite colors.
When you go to our website, we have a coaching course. We have a kit. It's Starter Kit 1 and Starter Kit 2. And Starter Kit 1 has the workbook along with charts and the CLA and GLA. And the Starter Kit 2 is just the workbook with a lot of charts. And also we have this wonderful thing,
the
shopping list.
grocery list.
No, I like the shopping list because, it's a grocery list.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Or you can buy our workbook alone, or you can purchase our forthcoming book that's coming out
Right.
after the beginning of the year.
But this is a digital download, so
Yeah.
you can get this immediately and get started right on
you
it.
can, or you
In
can
fact,
order the
I
book.
recommend it through the holidays.
Yes.
If you're really sick and tired of being sick and tired
Yes.
and fat.
Yes.
But we also have a coaching course for those that want to learn as much as we've put together in the last 60 combined years. And it's power equals knowledge. And this is our coaching course.
And commitment and success.
Mm-hmm. And on Wednesday, we have a Power 100 call. And when you become a member and we send out emails, it's about telling you the time and the phone number to get on. If you have 100+ pounds to lose, please join us because we have an unbelievable group of people. They're open, they're honest, and they're very much into wanting to support each other. We have many of them on there that have already lost over 100 pounds. We have one gal that's lost 130, 150 now, I believe.
Oh, she probably lost more than that by now. I haven't talked to her in a couple of weeks.
And we're here for you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we're passionate about this. This is very important for us. And we want to make sure that we can support and help you because I know what it's like to suffer. I know what it's like to be,
But-
you can't get your fat off like yesterday.
And it's about health.
It's
wanna
about health.
You want to be healthy. I mean, that's really, in my opinion, for me, it's my only asset.
But that's why the book is Flush Your Fat for Good, to be lean and healthy for life. So
that's it.
that's
And,
it. We want to thank you
you-
guys for joining us.
Yes.
And until next week.
Thank you so much.
Yep, and God bless.
God bless.
You're listening to Flush Your Fat for Good with Jackie and Dr. Vicky, only on LA Talk Radio.